Dear friends, I'm Haik, and this is the Network Nation podcast about projects carried out worldwide related to Armenia and contributing to Armenia's development. On this podcast, I host the representatives of these projects to understand what they do and how interested people can collaborate with them. It is a great pleasure to introduce my guest, Tony Safoian, the CEO and president of SADA, a global leader in business and technology consulting services, transforming organizations through innovative cloud based solutions. SADA has been named the Google Cloud Partner of the Year for 5 years in a row. Recently, they opened a global delivery center in Armenia and became an important contributor to our country's rapidly growing tech sector. We have discussed the reasons for opening this center in Armenia, their experiences so far, and other valuable information about working in our country. Tony also shared the story of how SADA became the sponsor of the Armenian national basketball team and which role played the Armenian network in this decision. To help us spread the word about this and other Armenian related projects, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And now, please enjoy the conversation with Tony Safoian.
Hello, so happy to be here. This is Tony Safoian. I'm the CEO of SADA, a company founded by Armenians immigrating to the United States 22 years ago. And ironically, now we're back in Armenia with a great operation. I can't wait to tell you about it. But SADA is one of the largest Google Cloud implementation and sales partners in the world. First week of July, we will surpass 800 employees, including our presence in UK, Armenia, and India, all over North America. We love telling our story and inspiring the next generation of Armenian entrepreneurs. I'm really excited to be here, Haik. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. So this was like kind of a trailer, like short description of the whole episode. But look, this is the thing. So why I started this podcast at all, right? Because I see that, it's hard to overestimate the importance of network in any sphere of our lives, right?
Right.
And we Armenians happen to be a network nation. But the problem I see here that the density of this network is not that high. So there are Armenians all over the world, like across the globe, right? So there are junctions of this network, but the junctions are not very well connected with each other.
Yes.
And you are in this Armenian network, but we don't know much about you. But maybe like few words about your early life. Where were you born? Were you born in Armenia or in the US? Like education, like few words.
I was born in Armenia in Soviet times, 1978. And interestingly, my grandparents, three of my four grandparents were born outside of Armenia because, of course, they were displaced by the genocide. Couple of born in Baghdad, one born in Lebanon. All three came back, after World War II, the Soviet attraction, the propaganda, whatever you want to call it. But a big thing in their heart was to come back to the motherland. And of course they did. That's why my parents were born there. And of course, that's why I was born there. Interestingly, growing up, we had both the Soviet, Eastern Armenian influence, but because of where my grandparents were from, we also had this Western influence where they grew up in those places at the time was very Western, very secular, very advanced, I would say, in some ways. So, but that was the upbringing. I just know that the vision for my grandparents, especially on my mother's side, was to one day leave because of the Soviet system to them felt so limited. And so they wanted to create more opportunity for my parents and, of course, their grandchildren. And so my grandparents were able to get out in 1980, which was a very difficult time to get out. But because my grandfather was born in Lebanon, they had some ways of using that fact to go on a long journey to the United States. They settled on Los Angeles for many reasons. We know about the Armenian community in Los Angeles. And so, but for us, I was 2 years old when they left. It took another 7 years of trying and applying and petitioning to finally have a permission to leave and to permission to enter. And so I have been in Los Angeles from the age of 9.
I see. Well, okay, that's interesting. So you've been like you went to school and then the university all in the U.S.
I went to LA Unified School District Public School. It was very close to the house, and all throughout my life, I went to different public schools, and a great experience for me that in university I went to Irvine, UC Irvine. My third year of university, I had the opportunity to study abroad, to sort of leave the U.S. again for a year, and to me that was also.
Where did you go?
Yeah.
Where did you go?
I went to University of Sheffield in the UK, and I was surrounded all of a sudden by Europeaners again. It was like I'd become very, very Americanized because my parents, that's what they cared about most. Interestingly, they didn't send us to Armenian school. We didn't go to Armenian church. It was like, we want you to assimilate and become American, and your mindset as fast as possible, because they thought that was important. But so I'd become very American, I would say. When I went to Europe in my year abroad, 2 very important things happened. One is that was the year I discovered I didn't want to become a doctor, because for all Armenian immigrants, you have to become a doctor or a lawyer. So
that's true.
That was a big decision. Influences there. I started taking very hardcore biology and physiology classes, and I didn't like that. But I also met people who were studying other things, economics and other things, and I got really interested in that. But the other thing that happened was I had a really opening of my mind again. For me, at that point, I was 20 years old. I thought America was everything. I thought everybody in the world wanted to come to America, no matter what their situation is, But I met these, people from Sweden and Germany and UK and France and Spain who were like, actually, life is pretty good here, So I was like, really? I thought everybody wants to come to America, because growing up, that's all I heard. Everyone wants to come to America. I'm like, I know, me too.
Right.
So that was great, because it really created much more open mind. I was aware of more of the world. I understand that the world was becoming more global. So, but that was the 1 year I lived abroad. I came back. I finished my degree. Actually, I had a double major in biology, philosophy. I dropped the biology major. I love philosophy because to me, it's like the study of humanity and culture, and philosophy is just the meaning of life to me, so I love that. And then I dropped biology. I picked up a management minor, and I really had to decide what I wanted to do. Same time, my mother had a graphic design business. She taught herself how to do graphic design, small business. She was doing a lot of design work for physical print media back then. My father had a dream of starting a tech services company to write software.
Right.
So I was taking different jobs towards the end of school to figure out what I wanted to do. And then I got a great job at a .com company. This was, 1999. And it was the height of that .com bubble. And then they, like many companies, lost all their funding. And I knew the company had to shut down. So I could have stayed in, Orange County, California, got another job. But for our culture, as you know, especially being only child, I really was pulled to come back to Los Angeles and just help, to see like, what's my father trying to do that I can help, what's my mother trying to do that I could help. So that's kind of the origin story of SADA. SADA was founded in 2000 with my father, 3 other partners who left in 2003, but I just started to help in the ways that I could help. The 2 companies combined in 2003. I became the CEO in 2003, and that's a sort of how SADA really started.
Well, that's interesting. Actually, there were many things that I wanted to comment in this first few minutes. So, you mentioned that your parents wanted you to assimilate actually to the culture, American culture, right? And here in Germany, I also see different models, right, of families. Families, they want their kids to assimilate. Families, they don't want their kids to assimilate. But somehow, what I observe that sooner or later, if for I don't know, for whatever reason, people tend to come back, or at least some of them want to go back and find their roots, and or like give it back to
Yes.
their homeland.
Yes.
And we'll come to this in a second, because you moved, or you opened your global, what is the name, global
Delivery
CDG,
center.
right, global
Yes.
delivery center in Armenia. This is actually that's very interesting how this happened. But yeah, maybe you just give us a short, like a TLDR version of what SADA is doing, and so that we understand what company is this.
Yeah, so SADA started doing very basic on-premise sort of application development, uh, networking, infrastructure work, mostly on the Microsoft and Intel platforms, which was kind of what was taking over in the early 2000s. But very soon, we just kind of created our own models around managed services, which didn't really exist, but we knew that you shouldn't wait for a customer's network to break before you go fix it. You should maintain it, proactively,
Mm-hmm.
and you can charge a predictable fee for this, and customers are happy to pay because they don't want to have problems, right? So, and so that really evolved to our thoughts about how do we centralize some of these dependencies. So we almost started to we were dreaming of creating our own cloud where we could like put customer information there, serve it over the internet, so we didn't have all these dependencies in every office that we were servicing. That was very hard to do. We tried it, we rolled it back. The customer stayed with us, but we're like, look, we can't do this. It's like so expensive to build data centers, as you know, maintain them. We couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But we were just lucky to run into Google, who was first entering the enterprise, the business market. Google was a consumer company. That's all they did. Google search and, maps and stuff like that. But they had a dream about this enterprise vision. We just found them randomly. We knew the brand was incredible. We just wanted to try. And then because we tried, we were then invited to be a launch partner for Google Apps for your domain. Basically, email that they launched that was cloud email, but for your own domain. So all the universities were going on this platform, a lot of the telcos. We became a top partner in 2007-8, implementing these for universities all around the world. And then around 2009 for companies. Now companies could do the same thing. That was the origin of our cloud vision, and we were doing the same thing on the Microsoft platform too. So we had these two different partners.
You've been working with both of them at the beginning.
Yeah, yes, definitely, because we started with Microsoft. There was no Google Cloud, in 2000, 2002, 3, 4, 5. But we had both, and we built businesses with both between 2009 and 2019, where we were again selling the technology, selling the software, and implementing the software. So 2000, and that really made us unique. Most of our competitors were very big, but they were very happy doing the old business. They're very profitable, old paradigm. They were resisting the cloud, and we were not resisting. We were going all the way fast. We got the vision. So we had an advantage. They had the old partners and new partners like us. And so, but the biggest decision we made was in 2019. We said, look, we want to become best in the world at one thing. You cannot become best in the world at many things. It's very hard. So we're going to focus on Google. It was a slightly bigger business. It was smaller company, smaller ecosystem. We felt like we could distinguish ourselves. We could become really number one in this new market most people did not understand in 2019. Yeah. So we sold the Microsoft business, went all in with Google, became their biggest partner in almost every category, focused only on Google. And 2019, we had, after the Microsoft sale, we had 150 employees. And next week we will pass, 800. So it's a little over 3 years. Went from 150 to 800 people.
Wonderful. Keyword vision, right? You use the word vision. We'll come back to this later. All right. SADA is in Armenia. That's already, I think, last year.
Yes, about a year and a half ago. Roughly.
Year and a half.
Yeah. It's
year and a half. You have your global delivery center in Armenia, and tell us a little about the decision. So, what was the decision? Why Armenia? Why not Serbia or Ukraine? Or is this like just kind of an outsourcing model, or what is this? How does this happen?
So, look, my father for the last 10 years has wanted to do something, to your point, this pull to go back, right? To help, to contribute, but not just donate. I think donating money is one thing, but donation doesn't create long-term sustainable economic prosperity. As we've seen, how much has been donated to many countries in Africa over the last 50 years?
Yeah, to Armenia as well. I mean, how much was donated to Armenia?
Yeah, billions and billions, right? Well, not billions to Armenia, but billions all around the world, these developing countries. They don't really change. So we know that investment is much more important than donation. Of course, we donate too, but so his idea was to invest, but in a way that was helpful to the core business. Another mistake is, I think, to set something up because it looks nice or you feel good about it, but unless it has economically sustainable, again, it will not last. But so he's been wanting to do this year after year, and he said, Tony, when can we do it? And I'll tell you, Heike, it was actually a very important moment. It was one of our customers in North America, big customer. We were competing. We were trying to win the business for their Google Cloud GCP journey, and we almost lost the deal because we had no resources, no office outside of North America. Yes.
So was that a competitive advantage if you would have a company outside?
That really was educational for me. We used to say to our customers and prospects that the competitive advantage is to have all U.S. resources, all North America talent, right? But as our customers got bigger and our customers themselves are global, when we used to say we're all in North America, their feedback was like, Tony, you're crazy. What do you mean? It doesn't make sense. We are global. You need to be global as well. So when we barely won that deal, the next day, I swear, I called my father, I talked to my father. I was like, Dad, it's go time. It's go time. And he was so happy, so excited. I was excited. And Armenia made sense, of course, because time zone, 12 hours, talent pool. Of course, there's geopolitical issues, but relatively stable, especially then, maybe even more stable. But lots of investment going in. Lots of Armenians returning to Armenia from all around the world already, from Syria and Lebanon and Europe and America and Iran. They were going in. Tech companies who went before us. Thank you to our customers and friends, Service Titan, Disco, Pixart. So many American companies building there. Now it's
NVIDIA as well now, right?
NVIDIA now, just so many. VMware has a significant presence. Anyway, it was well established that there's something you can do. So we went, and because he's sort of a chairman, board member of SADA now, this is a perfect assignment for him. He has the connections, he has the friends, he has the network, the cultural ties. For a year, including, by the way, he was there when the war started. But for about a year on and on, he came back, went back again. 6 months of 1 year he spent there, establishing the foundation, meeting with officials, hiring the right leader, Susie, who's incredible. And without that, it would not be possible if he did not take this on, himself to do that. And the culture we have there is something now I'm extremely proud of. And they're like us here, but of course, a local flavor, which is going to happen, I think, in all of our global investments. But it was really our first global operation.
Okay. But before we move to culture, look, with so many companies operating in Armenia, are you still able to fill the open positions that you have there? I'm not sure, like about 100%, but still, I mean, can you like?
It's very challenging. There's two main problems with that market. One is the size, meaning how many engineers are there in Armenia? 20,000 total? Maybe? I don't know.
Well, it's growing. Let's say the number grows 20% every year or something, but still, there are not that many. 20, 25 maybe.
And we went in there and we were meeting with our friends and partners in these companies. And I think there's sort of an agreement that our job, we are all there, Pixar, Disco, ServiceTide, we're there to create a bigger pool of talent, not to just move people around.
Yeah.
Which is happening.
And how do you do that?
It's like, oh, you go there and then you work there and then you just we recycle the same talent, right?
Yeah.
The way you do that is, first of all, it's sort of a agreement between these companies. But of course, there's resources like AUA, Yerevan State University, TUMO, where they're really trying to graduate as many engineers as possible. That's still one strategy, has to happen. We have to have young people out of school, in school, interested in this very high growth and well-paying space. But my father's vision, and we're seeing this now, we've immigrated, I think, 4 or 5 engineers already from India to Armenia. Others, we hope. I mean, I don't know why more are not coming from Syria, more are not coming from Lebanon, from Iran, from Belarus, just everywhere, right? I think we want to create a tech culture that is the strongest in the Caucasus, so that if you're in Georgia or you're Armenian, or maybe even you're not Armenian. Like right now, we're seeing influx of Russians and Ukrainians. Great. I hope they stay. The key is, how do we get them to stay? We have to create a net positive immigration situation with engineering. That's very, very important. But I'll tell you, the government has been very, very supportive of the work visa process, the immigration process. It's very efficient, and they need to win on this premise. In America, it takes 9 months. Canada is 2 to 3 months. Very much better. We have 140 people in Canada now. Some immigrating from all over Africa, everywhere. It's amazing. Armenia needs to win by being the easiest to immigrate talent into. And the other challenge is a general cultural statement about Armenians, especially in Armenia, that we are, I think, aware of, but also applies to this sector in technology, engineering. When you have decades and decades and decades, maybe hundreds of years of a homogeneous culture, where everybody around you is Armenian, you think you know more than you actually do.
Right.
It's a fair cultural statement. Like, there's no
and
there's no
and very often you think you're like a superior or something. I genuinely believed when I came to Germany then we have something special. Like all cultures are good, but we have something special, like we're unique. But this was interesting when you mentioned when you came to the UK and you thought like everybody wants to come to US. So this is also similar. Therefore I was thinking, okay, maybe this kind of mindset is only for smaller countries and nations, but apparently not not at all. The
Well,
US had the
the
same,
difference in the U.S. is because
but everyone wants to come.
In Los Angeles, there's people who speak 120 different languages or 130,
Yeah.
whatever. Berlin, all over Germany, you have an infusion of outside ideas. You have a magnet for the most ambitious and very smart people to want to come from all around the world. So what is possible. You're seeing and exposed to things that you've never seen before, that you don't know, but it's been happening for not 5 years, centuries or decades. So that was a big awakening, I think, for our team. And we did this deliberately, not only to add talent, but to show our Armenian engineers what great engineering can be. Armenian developers, what a top engineer looks like. Because maybe they're the best developer that they know. But what does that mean?
That is very often the case. Yeah.
But what does that mean in a global context, right? So this is going to be very helpful. I haven't been to Armenia. I was going to go. COVID happened. I haven't been forever. My dad's been a dozen times in the last couple of years. But I'm going in October. What I hear from my friends and contacts and colleagues, for example, the last 3-4 years, because we had so many Armenians come back from the Caucasus, from the Middle East, from America, like certain sectors, the quality in certain sectors has improved dramatically. The service sector, restaurant, cafe, whatever.
Top. Yeah.
The food is better.
They are top.
The service is better. Why? Because it's like you're bringing other ideas. You're bringing like a culture of service that's different than a culture of service in Armenia. And like now everything gets better. Now every restaurant has to be better, right? So that's kind of how I think about our industry as well.
Yeah, that's, by the way, that's the same thing is happening with relocants from Russia and Ukraine due to the war. It's very unfortunate, but for Armenia, it seems that this has a positive impact because they bring their own culture and their new colors and new way of thinking, which is beneficial for a country. So, but that's interesting how you mentioned that you show the Armenian engineer a top, like another top engineer, so that they can see where to go, basically. And would you say it works? Would you say they start growing and their mindset
Absolutely.
is up?
It's already working. It's still early. The more we do this, the better. And America's strength is its diversity. That's the strength. So you can't have a culture that's completely dominated by conventional thinking for hundreds of years or dozens of years. They're not going to know what they don't know. And we have to change this, and we are changing it. SADA is playing a small role. The war is playing a big role. But the idea is to get these people to stay.
Yeah, exactly. And how about the work ethics? How different or how close is it to the culture that you have, or in general to the US, maybe work ethics?
Because of the foundational leadership we have in place, that's very much like us. They are, of course, attracting and hiring and targeting people that also fit that obsession with performance, obsession with customers, love for each other. Like, we will do anything for each other at SADA, not only in my team, but any team. Somebody asks me for something, I'll do anything. This is how great accomplishments are achieved, that are achieved by people in different teams coming together, right? So they're absolutely fantastic, exceptional global support, exceptional global engineering and delivery. The other surprise, my CFO is also born in Armenia, came to the United States when she was like 15, 16, has family there. So she brought the idea that Armenia is not only an engineering hub, but it's a fantastic hub for back office operations. We have exceptional people in marketing support, in design, in heavy duty finance roles, FP&A, accounting, finance, sales operations. We have a lawyer there now who's familiar with those markets because we're starting to do business in those markets. So I think the mistake that people make, and I'm meeting with my friends here and colleagues who have Armenia operations, I'm very open with this. Let's not think Armenia is only engineering.
Mm-hmm.
All the big five have offices there, Ernst & Young and Deloitte, fantastic people in finance, legal, operations, design, the creative realm as well. So it's important for us to think beyond just like software developers.
Yeah, that's a great message. And how was or how is it actually the taxation system and all the paperwork? Was it like easy and profitable, or how would you rate this?
Honestly, we're not focused on that too much. I know that it was doable. The government, Ministry of Economy, etc., very supportive. They can fast track things, and I know that I'm not familiar with the details, but I know that when they were like offering like tax credits and stuff, we're like, we don't care about that. Mm-hmm. It's like, fine, thank you. But you know what? I prefer to pay the taxes.
Yeah.
You know, especially in Armenia, please take my money. We're profitable, let's say here one day, please take it because that's what the country needs. I'm not going there for a tax advantage, you know.
Oh, that's clear. And, you know, very often I read articles about countries like, Estonia, Georgia, Portugal, or Cyprus, right, which are attractive for IT companies, and Armenia is missing from that list. And I'm thinking how to bring Armenia to that list, because when I compare the advantages in our country with these countries, seems to be very comparable, if not even better. And there was this article I shared on LinkedIn, and you've seen that too, which is Global Startup Ecosystem Index Report 2022.
Yes, and we're moving up.
Yeah, and Armenia ranked first in Caucasus, and the ecosystem, the Yerevan was the number 29 in East Europe, and now it's 19th, right? So things are going pretty well there. So I hope Armenia will be one of the countries that everybody will be looking at and saying, okay, guys, you can relocate there, or let's relocate, let's open our branch there, and move to Armenia. How would you say, like, if you think of advantages and disadvantages, or like being in Armenia, what can you say about this?
Look, I think that because for Armenia, I believe this journey to be a digital nation is existential. It's a huge driver of the right types of things happening. Malta, they can be a financial tax haven, like whatever, right? There's other things going on. But Armenia is a landlocked country with a great history. The Soviets did a lot of bad things, but they also brought a culture of like deep engineering, science, the academia history and legacy is there. Like we have, and we are special. But not only Armenians, I believe, Haik, that any culture that has gone through genocide, oppression, hundreds of years of oppression is a hardened culture, because first of all, we survived or we survived. Mm-hmm. Like I think about this all the time, and I'm like, the probability of me being alive is very, very low, especially for us. The fact that we're here, it means our great grandparents or grandparents lived where millions died. And there's some, we have a drive that is different. I think we have a purpose that's different. Like we survived, we're here to carry on and do something special. So I think that's special. We have an existential need to become a digital country. Estonia is a very good model for that. But we also have a superpower I was debating this with my new head of VP, my new head of professional services, Peter Fitzgibbon. I was like, Armenia's superpower is a diaspora. Which country has more people outside than inside? And he reminded me that the Irish have 20 million Irish outside. So he's fighting with him about this fact. I haven't fact checked this yet, but let's say Irish aside, it's an incredible strength to have this diaspora that is generally, on average, quite ambitious and successful wherever they've gone. And they have this calling. Maybe the Irish diaspora don't have a calling to go back to Ireland, but I think the Armenia diaspora does. For whatever reason, it's deep-rooted. It's in our DNA. We can't even explain it. But we will always want to go back in some way, physically, financially, investment-wise, whatever, language, culture. So we have this superpower that most other countries don't have. If we can get out of our own way and we can make sure that Armenia itself becomes a good and safe place to do business, meaning no corruption, hopefully democracy, pro-business, it will draw, billions and billions of dollars of continued investment.
Look, Tony, this is that's really great that you mentioned diaspora. And another great example was on the episode with Ashot Arzumanyan, the partner at Smart Gate VC. He mentioned that when they opened their Hero House in Los Angeles, the accelerator, he mentioned that without diaspora, that would simply not happen. So
I know I showed really well.
Armenian diaspora, helped. So basically, not only facilitated, but basically without them, this would just not happen. And the growth that you mentioned also without diaspora would not be as fast as it is now. And so you've been talking about future, and I want to, there is this article about you on Forbes Councils, and it is mentioned here. Safoian is. Wait a second. There was this thing. Safoian, wait a second. Safoian has established himself as a visionary entrepreneur addressing the needs of business partners and customers. So, the visionary, as the visionary Tony Safoian, how do you see Armenia succeed or success, or how do you see the path of Armenia as a company? Let's say if we play a game, Armenia as a company and the world as a customer, if we can play this game, what kind of company is Armenia, and what does it do?
It's a very old startup. It's a startup that's 5,000 years old startup. Look, Armenia has not only survived, but it has seemingly always figured out how to become a center of something. If you're talking about, go back to the Silk Road, went through Armenia, right? So I think we are entrepreneurial, we are merchants, we are creatives, we are intellectuals, we are academics focused, we're chess players. So I think it's in us, but I think, again, it's not guaranteed, right? Many countries and companies are often in the best situation, then they basically ruin themselves. So it's important that we stay a democracy. It's important that we stay geopolitically savvy and smart. Most of the fighting I see happening is between Armenians today, and I think that's tragic. And we have these ideologies and these misconceptions about how the world works, and what Turkey should do, what Azerbaijan should do, what Russia should do, what America should do. This is also coming from a naivete of homogeneous small country. Nobody cares that we're the first Christian country in the world. Nobody cares that we're the only democracy in the region. Nobody cares. Sorry, I hate to break it to you,
Yeah.
but if we had any doubts, we remember the 44-day war. Okay, that was very clear. The world made it clear that Christianity will not save us. America will not save us. Nobody cares. And this is most companies. I don't care. Like, our culture is like, oh, SADA is such a great culture. They don't do business with us only because of our culture. They do business for us because we're providing disproportionate value relative to their investment. So Armenia has to become a place that is first feasible and important as an investment hub because of the talent and infrastructure and the government business friendliness and talent coming in, and really interesting things start to happen, investment money coming in. But it has to then produce disproportionate returns for the companies who are making investments there. That's the only way this is long-term sustainable. So that's how we have to think of it. So we have to make sure to reduce corruption to the minimum. We have to make sure that the country itself is fiscally responsible, that is geopolitically smart. And we have to have an urgent need to become self-sufficient, to create leverage, right? Like Taiwan, Singapore, Estonia, like these sort of places. Israel, of course, people talk about unfair advantage in Israel. U.S. and Britain put billions of dollars there, right? Trillions of dollars there over the last 50, 60 years. We don't have that. So we have to do it ourselves. Nobody helped Singapore. Nobody helped Singapore. Literally no one. They just did it themselves.
They created themselves. We got to create ourselves too, together. And as a small country but a global nation, that's how I see the situation.
We have an advantage. There's no Singaporean diaspora. You know?
No, absolutely.
It's not the same.
That's like I said at the beginning. So the podcast is contributing to increasing this density of people who are doing something for Armenia. And my guests are people who are, not complaining and not just dreaming, but actually doing something for a country. And I want them to connect with each other. And that's the thing. But what you do in Armenia is not only SADA, but you also, recently I read, SADA named marquee sponsor of the Armenian national basketball team.
You want to talk about
something,
you want to talk about something that is only possible because of the diaspora? Rex Kelemian, assistant coach of the NBA Detroit Pistons, the only Armenian in the entire National Basketball Association. There's not a single Armenian player, assistant coach, back office, front office, general manager. The only Armenian in the whole NBA. This is a calling. He was given this opportunity, and they can't really pay him anything, right? So he's not doing it for the money. He wants to bring basketball, sports, competitiveness to this country he was not even born in. And I met him through actually a recent hire. This amazing guy, Haraj, came to SADA and said, hey, I'm involved with like youth Armenian basketball, and I know this guy is doing this and they need help. I was like, introduce me. Me and my head of marketing, who's also Armenian, Noreen, had lunch with Rex and fell in love with this vision. And they gave us this different sponsorships. And I was like, Rex, I want the whole thing. I want the whole thing. I want the name on the jersey, the SADA Cup, and this. Because why? Because it was Rex. Because this, like other small countries don't have an NBA coach. Trust me. Armenia gets a coach from the NBA. Are you kidding me? That's unbelievable. Only because of the diaspora and only because of our culture to be pulled back, right? So I like to go in business and in sponsorships or whatever, go early to something that's small but has high potential. And it's something that is meaningful to me. I love Armenia. I'm Armenian. I love basketball. And I'm a huge fan of Rex now. So it's an opportunity to make a disproportionate impact. The sponsorship is not a massive amount of money, but it's so important and it looks so great. And I think it's the beginning of basketball in Armenia. Rex said to me at lunch, I've repeated now 10 times, and I know this growing up. He said, Armenians love basketball. Basketball doesn't love us. And he wants to change this. He wants to change this.
Yeah, fantastic. Did he move to Armenia or he's in the US?
He's working he has a full-time job with the Detroit Pistons, He has a home in Southern California. He's there for this. And he'll come back and hopefully do it next year, and grow and just grow it. That's the idea.
Beautiful story. Coming back to SADA, Tony, what are the plans? What are your next steps in Armenia, or maybe in general?
What we're doing is, I think, so important to our customers that we know we need to deliver our talent and capabilities to everywhere in the world, not just the developed markets, but the developing markets, because we also agree the Caucasus, Southeast Asia, Middle East, Africa, Latin America. This is the future of the global economy. We have to be there, and we have to give these customers an advantage to skip so much legacy technology that can hold them back, to go directly into the most high-performing cloud, capabilities, so that they can build amazing companies using this technology. So global is the next adventure. The U.S. market is still very, very early. 10% of the market is penetrated for cloud, and we have so much to do. But concurrently, we have to keep executing in the biggest market in the world, but at the same time, plant the seeds in these other markets. Armenia will be a great hub. We also made a small acquisition in India. That will be a great hub. Our first 2 UK people are starting in early July. And we'll just continue to expand in these other markets, because the work we do is important. And the work we do changes companies. And we want to bring that to these developing markets as well, with our capabilities that were developed under the most amount of pressure you can imagine. Like, the customers we serve here are the biggest, most demanding, most advanced. They've really forced us to get very good at what we do. We bring those market-leading capabilities to Armenia and those companies. That's a huge advantage for them and for us.
Yeah, fantastic. And how do people join you? Do you need? You most probably need people, right?
SADA.com/careers. There's a whole section, and we also have a couple of partnerships with job boards for Armenia specifically. So you can just Google SADA Armenia jobs, and please apply. We're hiring lots and lots of people still this year and in the future. So, and we're looking for people that think like us and are ambitious and want to make a real impact.
That's a great culture that you actually bring to Armenia. And for those who don't know, they're here again in the same Forbes article. There are a few facts and accolades, right, about you. Is you're a top 40 under 40 CEO of the year, and the SADA was named 3 times or 4 times Google Cloud Partner, 5 times.
Recently, we just got the 5th. Yeah. Yes.
5th. Yeah. Okay. Google Cloud Partner of the Year. So that's a company that you want to be part of. And if you are in Armenia, especially, you should check out their website. Tony, was absolutely fantastic talking to you.
Likewise.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with people?
I just want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. It's fantastically important work. And I love how you're bringing people together all around the world that have a similar vision for wherever they are, but also for Armenia. And thank you for the invitation. It was a great honor to speak with you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Tony, and all the best with SADA.
Thank you.
And the Armenian national basketball team, of course.
Yes.
This was the 50th episode of the Network Nation podcast, and my guest was Tony Safoian, the CEO and president of SADA. I entirely enjoyed our conversation, and I hope you did too. Be sure to visit SADA's website, explore the job postings, and seize your opportunity to become part of this great company. Thank you for being with us, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.